Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is January 27th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well. Hopefully, this episode finds you live and alive. Um, okay. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna keep it as sweet as I can. This episode. This one's it's a heavier one for me. I feel like I can just already tell. Just in doing the research and going about it this week. But overall, I want to talk about the good shit, my shit. Life's been good. I've had a great week. Um, I don't know. I just feel like I've come to a lot of thoughts that have kind of been building over the last year. And I'm really just happy with myself. I'm really proud of myself. I'm feeling myself. But just I don't know. I look over this past I really feel like 4 years now or something like that, and I just remember feeling like, goddamn, I don't like life that much anymore. I remember I was creeping towards 30. I was going through a lot in life, and I just feel like 2022 at the end of it was really the end of a certain kind of race, and I really started to look back a lot more, and I'm really happy, um, and that feels good. Feels good that I worked hard and I got somewhere with that. So yay! And then also this podcast and all this stuff. You guys listening, that's just been great. Obviously, super cool, sweet. So like I said, feeling myself. Let's see. Let's talk about some food, some more mushy stuff. Um, I can't remember if I've talked about the shawarma I got. I might have talked about it on the Patreon, but I'll double dip here. First time I've ever had shawarma. It was very good. I had falafel with it as well, which is also very tasty. And yeah, that was a yummy meal. Other than that, though, I've been trying to keep it low key. Been cooking again, which is I mean, not that I haven't stopped cooking completely, but like really sticking to the script, and that's been nice. I really needed to eat today, but I will say I got some normal sour Skittles and got to eat those, and that was so refreshing. That was so nice to eat the kind of junk that just made me feel good and not that freeze dried future bullshit. But yeah, no, this week's been cool. Besides the shit that I'm gonna get into, like I said, pretty LG, life good. But let's see. I want to start with, I guess, a prequel, and you're gonna notice I flipped the episode because I just want to get through the worst of this. This is the needle for me and the eye, and I just need to set this up, get through it, and then we'll cover some other stuff that kind of took place over last weekend, and then we'll get to Ukraine, usual shit. I gotta say too. I mean, this is one of those abyss episodes. I'm always angling to get you good news. I'm hoping to find better stories or interesting, different stories. I don't know, but I got to cover this shit. So, starting here from ABC News, what is the Scorpion Unit, the Memphis Police Task Force at the center of the Tyrese Nichols death? I'll go ahead and also read to the next part from CNN. Memphis releases video showing police stop that led to Tyrese Nichols' death, and then there's also a little bit of a bio for Tyree Nichols. Sorry, I'm saying his name wrong. It's Tyree Nichols. Also from CNN, Tyree Nichols was a son and a father who enjoyed skateboarding, photography, and sunsets. His family says. So, God damn it. Um, the Scorpion Unit. What the fuck is that, right? Let's talk about what it stands for. Stands for Street Crimes Operation to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhoods. Let's see. It was announced in October 2021 and it launched a month later. It encompasses 40 officers split into 4 teams who patrol high crime hotspots throughout the city. And the police department announced this in November 2021. This is the Memphis Police Department. Essentially, a little bit of yada 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 in here. I'm talking like, why are we talking about this random, task force? They sound really, high tech, fancy, whatever. I'm going to give you a little bit of, obviously Isaiah, TDLR, if you will, what have you. But essentially, this is a task force which, on the surface, sounds like a really fucking great idea, especially when you have all this talk about how crime is on the rise and we have to do something to stop it. I can't believe that we were even trying to defund the police. Look at all this crime. So these guys are here. And essentially, you guys know I make the joke that cops have the license to, they have the license to fucking kill. And I say that in dark joke, whatever, but we know that's the fucking case. If you wanted to fucking get into that, then obviously you're probably in the wrong fucking podcast. You should probably fucking change the fucking channel. But hey, it is one of those things where when you have this kind of unit, because they are getting results, quote unquote, it only increases the desire for them to continue what they're doing. I'll read some fucking stats here. 2 months into Scorpion's deployment, Memphis Mayor Jim Strickland touted the unit's effectiveness. In his State of the City speech, Strickland claimed the unit was responsible for 566 arrests, 390 of them felony arrests. They seized $103,000 in cash, 270 vehicles, and 253 weapons between October 2021 and January 2023 of 2022. Yeah, super fucking cool. You guys are really busting heads, busting not, and it's like that all sounds good on fucking paper. It sounds good in these little addresses that you make that you are cleaning up the streets, really getting the broom. But essentially, you fast forward to what happens. I want to say this is 20 days ago, on the 20th, which is Tyree Nichols getting pulled over in a traffic stop. And I mean, I'm sure you've been pulled over before. Cops have these weird tendencies where it's like they like to fucking like cum stack on each other or some fucking shit. So you get pulled over for whatever. Like, let's say in this situation with Tyree, he's pulled over for what they are saying is like reckless driving. And the initial reports, they really are trying to figure out, like, oh, is he drunk? Is he, like, on drugs? Yada, yada, yada. But essentially, the best they can come up with is reckless driving. So they try to, apprehend him, and they are essentially, I'm trying to think how I want to really cover this. Let's see. The city of Memphis has released body camera and surveillance video showing the January 7th traffic stop and violent police confrontation that led to the death of 29-year-old Tyree Nichols. Now, these 5 cops that are involved, once again, are all a part of this Scorpion unit. Let's see. In one of the body cam videos, and also I want to mention too, this is captured on multiple body cams and then also a pole camera. And these are all very important to know because let's fucking face it. If we didn't have all of this fucking evidence mounted against these people for this brutal, and I'm not fucking kidding you, I'm not jiving you. This is some of the worst fucking footage I've ever fucking seen. And the thing that's sad about it is, when you think about it, when you stop and you fucking think about it, if you're not one of those fucking people who want to fucking argue and debate and try to figure out, well, he shouldn't have ran, he shouldn't have fled, he shouldn't have blah, 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 and just realize that these are human beings brutally destroying another human being for literally running away on a reckless driving situation at best. Essentially, they are looking for a fucking body, and they found one and they made one. But without all this fucking footage, this just gets swept under the rug. You find a fucking reason. Let me go back and reference before I get into the guts of this. When I talk about the Cop City thing, I was meek stepping on that shit. I was being fucking quiet because I have this when people confront me on these things, and I don't like to have full confrontation, but I always have to remember that this is an ongoing cycle, and if I don't, like, part of the reason I do what I fucking do, that I hop on this fucking shit every fucking week, is to talk about these things as honestly as I fucking can, and to try to do it unabashed, to try to do it unafraid of what other people are gonna say and think about my fucking thoughts on this shit, my fucking feelings on it. I'm sorry, I'm getting worked up, but it's because this shit is so constant, man. And how brutal that these people, these five cops, they do this man is insane. And this man died. He died 3 days later after this whole fucking thing, after they brutalized this man. He's no longer here. And then these cops the whole way are just worrying about themselves. And it's so bad though that these cops are literally like, oh fuck, like the other cops, like essentially like the department, they just wash their hands of these people. I know I was trying to stick to it, and I'm gonna try to get back to the article, but it's so wild to me that they knew how bad this was, that they quickly got rid of these cops. And I will also tell you too, these five cops, I haven't gotten their names yet. I'm gonna try to. I'm sorry, but they're all black. So these are five black men beating up another black man. And I can already tell you that that's already something that fucks with me as is. And it is so hard for me to capture and put into words how stressful this is, that you know how these these political agents are already at work trying to make this less than an issue because it is a black on black thing. Or that, like, it's so hard for me to put it into fucking words for people. You know, it's part of the reason why I don't like getting into these debates, because at the end of the day, we are talking about a systematic oppression. We are talking about cops. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. When you accept this badge, when you become these blue lives matter type people, you understand that you are taking on this weird subclass that is hell bent on oppressing other people. And I don't make it to just make it a black issue. At the end of the day, these cops do not care about us, period. They only care about the consequences at best. And in this situation, you can literally see how cavalier these cops are about it the whole fucking way. Gosh, okay. Let me get back to the article. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be in the weeds about this specific issue because I'm just boiled over. I've already talked about this shit 2 other times this fucking month. In a fucking month that we've had like over 40 shootings, like mass shooting type shits, dude. Like, it's insane. It is insane to live in America, period. Don't get me wrong. The world is crazy. It's all on fire. None of this is new, but it is crazy to me. In one of the body cam videos, a Memphis police officer is heard yelling at Nichols, "I'm going to baton the fuck out of you. Give me your fucking hands." Nichols screams for his mom as the video shows an officer arriving at a second location in a residential neighborhood. Officers tell Nichols, give him his hands. As the struggle ensues on the ground, as an officer asks Nichols, "Do you want to get sprayed again?" 2 of the officers hit and kick Nichols as he is on the ground. Nichols screams, "Mom!" An officer then appears to pepper spray Nichols. Now, they spray this man so badly, they pepper spray themselves. And in the process of that, in the post-op, as he's propped up against a car, they're more worried about themselves getting sprayed. They're like, "Ah, man, this shit's burning." And mind you, there is I guess if you want to see the shit, it is multiple like footage like I described. It's the New York Post has like the best footage if you want to see that shit. But they knew this footage was gonna have to come out, and that's why this shit is so fucking bad. That's why they move so goddamn fast. Let's see. Nichols continued to scream for his mother during the incident. Officers continue to tell Nichols to give him their hands as Nichols continues to scream for his mother. He had ran, and that really initiated this whole thing into them going into this next mode. And you can see from the poll footage, because the body camera footage at some point, you miss the visual, like it falls on the ground or they fall on him, and in the process of them beating the shit out of him and tasing him, you literally can't see anything. You just hear it. But there's a poll camera footage, and you literally see them beating and kicking him. There's a strong comparison to the Rodney King thing, and that's very apt. It's worse. I've seen the Rodney King footage. It's worse than that. There are moments where you see the man, like we were talking about the baton. He raises up and he goes to hit him square on the fucking head. Gosh. I really don't want to go through all of this shit. Like I said, man, I cite my sources for this fucking reason. If you want to go through it, be my fucking guest. I know some of you motherfuckers who do like to listen, whether you be a stranger, a person who knows me, you like to debate that shit, and that's fine. That's fine by me. I've said it before, I'll say it again. You have to pay me money, though, if you actually want that. Otherwise, I'm going to ignore or delete your comments, or I'm going to just ignore or delete the conversation. I try to avoid these conversations. Obviously, though, like I said, I've been crawling up the walls about this shit, talking to people, and you do get some blowback. You do get the standard-ass fucking bullshit that comes out of these people's mouths. Well, was he on something? Well, he shouldn't have ran. Like, oh, da-da-da-da. It's like... It's also crazy that people are talking about training again. Like, well, we need to work on training these officers better. What are you talking about, dude? Like, training is not the issue. Cops are the issue. You have to understand the fact that these are so standard issue situations now. It's not fucking new. It's just so frustrating. It's so hard to deal with. Like, motherfuckers are never gonna know, like, how it feels. And it's like I said before, at the end of the day, these cops don't care about us, period. But especially when you're a person of color, it is so terrifying to have a cop come up behind you because you just don't know how it's going to go. I've had good situations, though, with cops. Totally. That's great. But that should happen all the fucking time. I've said it before, I'll say it again. When you are in situations that literally people's lives are on the line, that like, you could end someone's life if you fuck up, then you have to be the best. There are no rooms for fuck ups. You deserve to get what you get if you fuck up. That being said, I believe at least 4 out of 5 of these guys are already out on bail. So that's fucking great. I'm sure, like I said, those Blue Lives Matter folks really rallied around. There are also protests. So far, I believe, I haven't heard anything about them, getting violent. Granted, I mean, the release of this video literally happened tonight on Friday. So, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. I know I'm not doing this coverage justice. Obviously, I never do. But, I mean, this shit's fucked up. I can't imagine the family. The mom said they got to see the footage, and I mean, she literally, when she heard his voice, she just couldn't watch anymore. And I understand that completely. I believe, gosh, sorry if you hear my stomach. That's crazy. I believe, the stepfather, he got to see him because, like I said, he was laid up. Also, I'm not sure about the EMTs or like any of the other responders, because like eventually they realize, oh, he's really fucked up, we should do something, and they call, and they get there, they hang out a little bit, and they finally put him on a stretcher, and he gets taken to a hospital. But like one of the first pictures released was him in the hospital, just literally beaten to a pulp, like he's bleeding on the fucking pillow. And hearing some of the cops try to talk to the mom saying like, hey, do you know if he was on something? Because he had like superhuman strength. We couldn't get the handcuffs on him. Fuck that shit. Fuck these cops. Fuck them. I'm sorry. Like, I have to say that. Like, if you think for a fucking second that these people were trying to do right by anybody that fucking night, go fuck yourself. Like, I'm sorry. Once again, this is a wrong fucking channel for you. I'm so sorry to tell you. Like, surprise. Oops, pal, surprise. So yeah, I'm in my bag. I really should move on. I've spent a lot of time on this, but I did want to really talk about it. Also, an update. I'm not going to cover the story really, but I wanted to at least read the headline from NPR. A $50 million claim is filed against LA over the death of a man who was tased by the police. And that's Keenan Anderson. So I just wanted to give a quick update on that. That's how that's progressing, at least in that way. We'll see how that goes. Let me get my composure. I've been doing podcaster things here. Okay. Sadly, this isn't getting any better. Once again, live from the abyss. Um, Half Moon Bay. Oh, sorry, from CNN. Half Moon Bay suspect is charged with 7 murder counts as U.S. tallies more mass shootings than days so far in 2023. That's right, you heard that right. Um, let's see. I should have the man's name. Here we go. 66-year-old Chun-Li Zhao is charged with shooting 4 people at a mushroom farm Monday, where the suspect was an employee. 3 more were killed at a nearby farm, authorities said. The suspect was a co-worker or former co-worker of the victims at each shooting site, and the evidence points to the attack being an instance of workplace violence. San Mateo County Sheriff Christina Corpus said. So this happened literally like the same weekend as the Monterey shooting, also in California. Now I did start the coverage on the main episode. I wound up covering the rest of it on the Patreon. Also, I'm glad I did find this article because it does cover it a little bit more here too, so you can get there. Also, there's another shooting that takes place in Yakima, Washington, that I'm going to try to hit real quick here too. But yeah, I mean, this is just like a really sad situation. Obviously, like there's no excuse for any of the action that was done. But this was just a really disgruntled man. He said he was like really like bullied, and after the shootings, I believe he like winds up more or less turning himself in or like going to the precinct, and they realize what's like, oh, this is the guy, and then they like arrest him. But let's see. This is from another article I got also from, and this is the Daily Beast. I don't like to go too hard in the rag news, but let's see. Zhao said, no, I'm trying to find where I was. He worked from early mornings until 9 p.m. at night, and despite being paid for it, his complaints were ignored by his boss. Also, they talk about getting paid. I'm not sure what. I believe the minimum wage in California is like $12 an hour, $12 an hour. If you're California listening, hey, feel free to correct me. But they were getting paid like $9 an hour, but they were like living at like a work site, which essentially that still means that's illegal. You still should be getting paid like fair wages for where you live. But he just talks about like a really bad work environment. I think he talks about being bullied. He says things about mental illness. Let's see. He bought a gun he used in the attack. I think, yeah, he did like actually buy a legal gun, which is something that people are kind of dissecting and going over. When he finally saw police swarming his car, he sat thinking, yes, that's me. Please arrest me already. Like I said, yeah, he goes to 2 different locations. So I mean, that case is gonna develop, or trial is going to develop eventually. Obviously, just like I said, really crazy that so much action. It's been such a kinetic month, I swear. Obviously, like I said, some of the other police stuff that's been trickled down. But I mean, granted, with the Nichols situation, that literally has all taken place since, like I said, January 7th. Let me try to find the thing about Yakima, Washington. Court documents filed by the Yakima Police Department revealed new details Wednesday on the fatal shootings. The suspect, identified as 21-year-old Jared Haddock, visited the Circle K store around 3 a.m. He walked around for about 40 seconds without interacting with anyone or buying anything, according to investigators who reviewed surveillance video. He returned 30 minutes later, this time with a gun. The suspect pointed the gun at a man and woman and fired several shots at them as he moved in their direction. Based on the video, it appeared Jared fired all the rounds of his magazine. He goes on to just do more killing. I really don't want to bathe in the blood here. I'm sorry. But then he winds up killing himself. So, I mean, like I said, it's just crazy. That literally slipped through my radar. I just found that one out tonight. And I was like, let me cover that too while it's literally here on the stack. Okay, so we made it through there. We made it through that. Now we're back to good old Ukraine. Good old Ukraine, baby. All right, from the Associated Press. Ukraine corruption scandal claims several top officials. So there was a little bit of crime afoot in Ukraine, a little bit of corruption, which I've kind of alluded to a little bit throughout last year. Kind of what I've learned is corruption has been a ongoing issue in Ukraine. And honestly, when you look at the world in a bird's eye view, what country isn't struggling with corruption? So I always find that a little bit funny. Excuse me, I'm sorry. With the situation with Ukraine, it's awkward because they're trying to become a NATO nation. Obviously, with things at hand, they're kind of a little bit fast-tracked. Like, low-key, they're kind of like pseudo already. But corruption is one of the things that they look for in the process that takes, I don't know, anywhere from I think it's like kind of like almost like a decade-long process. It takes a while. But like, corruption's a big deal. And it was something that they've been struggling with. It's actually part of the appeal of Zelensky, this actor turned president guy. It's like, literally, this is a guy from the outside. He's supposed to, like, if he means what he says, he's really going to come through and flip the script here. And they're going to be, like, anti-corruption, anti-establishment. And, you know, graft is mentioned a lot. I like the word grift. I'm more of a grift guy than a graft guy. But, hey, we'll go with graft for this, for this. But, yeah, a country long gripped by graft. And the new allegations come as Western allies are channeling billions of dollars to help Kyiv fight against Moscow. And we'll get into some of what is being given. A lot of tanks are on the menu, different varieties. A little leopard, if you will, and even some good old American might, but that's later on down the road. We'll get it there. Let's see. Corruption during war is totally unacceptable because people are giving their lives to fight Russians and to defend the motherland. That is Sergei Bakarev, a 28-year-old translator who is welcoming the arrests and stuff like that. Let's see here. Some of the names. Let's see. It's Zelensky's deputy head, Kryrilio Timoshenko, prominent for his frequent battlefield updates, quit as the president pledged to address allegations of graft, including some related to military spending that embarrassed authorities and could slow Ukraine's efforts to join the to join the European Union and NATO. Timoshenko asked to be relieved of his duties according to an online decree signed by Zelensky, and his own social media post. Neither cited a reason for the resignation. Kept it real low-key. Deputy Defense Minister Vyacheslav Shapovalov also resigned, local media reported, alleging his departure was linked to a scandal involving the purchase of food for Ukraine's armed forces. Deputy Prosecutor General Ulisky Simonokov, wow, they're probably putting all the names on, also quit. And all 4 deputy ministers and 5 governors of frontline provinces were set to leave their posts. The country's cabinet secretary said on Telegram messaging app. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I kind of want to get out of here. There, like I said, a lot of grift, a lot of graft is going on here. They go into some of the details. Also, there's a little bit of foreshadowing here too. I'll give you, talking about Finnish Foreign Minister Pekka Haavisto, I had to get another name in here, suggested his country may consider joining NATO without Sweden if Turkey blocks their joint bid to enter the military alliance. More on that in another episode. Let's see here. Moving along from Reuters. Russia unleashes missiles, drones at Ukraine after Kyiv secures tanks. 11 dead. So this is another missile strike situation. Obviously, really sad to, hear. It is really crazy the amount, and I always feel like it's weird propaganda that I wind up hearing, where it's like, well, Russia's like blown out all their artillery. Like they've blown their load. They've done it. And then you hear like a week later, 3 days later, whatever the amount of time, sure enough, they're doing it again. Which kind of goes into the duality of the conversation. It's one of the things I don't like to get too bogged down on my podcast, but there's always this level of like propaganda afoot when it comes to Ukraine. I mean, that's press period. The P's and the P. But it's this constant push of like always making it seem like Ukraine's gonna do it. They're gonna Rocky their way through this, but then also like this cold water splash moments of like, I mean, yeah, like this is pretty dire. I mean, like, if Russia keeps at it, I mean, it's kind of like big bank take little bank. And it's one of those things where we've talked about on this podcast a little bit. I try not to get too doomed out about, but it's frustrating to have that waffling where you're like, are they done with the strikes? No, they're not done with the strikes. It's going to keep happening. They're never gonna just run out of missiles. It sucks. It's sad to hear that more loss of life is happening. But the reasoning is seemingly because of the approval of these tanks, which I do kind of want to get to in the final article. Obviously, if you want to read Reuters to get the once again, the gutsa, you can have it. U.S. joins Germany in sending battle tanks to Ukraine, from the BBC. Also, too, I gotta say, if you guys have been fucking with my shit, my page, I'm always sharing shit that I'm about, little collabs I'm doing. So before I get into this, because it just reminded me of the joke Ethan said, please go and check out Late Start Podcast. Shit is amazing. They invited me on. It is Ethan and Ryan. They're super sweet dudes, hella handsome chaps, making some amazing content, having just awesome dudes and gals and whoever on their podcast to just talk, and they pick their brain, and it's just like a riff session or it's a learning session. I've been edutained, I've laughed, I've learned, and I love that. I love a podcast that can really just like have me glued to it, and these dudes do it. So they invited me on. I got to do their most recent episode that came out. So please check it out. Also, my amazing artist Patrick Sita is on there, and also Alex Wolf. I believe Wolf. I think I got his name right. Yes, Wolf. Amazing guys. It was super sweet to kick it with them. Also, hopefully, fingers crossed, expect more content in the future, more crossover content. You know me. I'm in the Matrix, baby. So yeah, please check that out. Please. Awesome. If you like me, if you like hearing me, I'm on there. I'm joking. I'm riffing the shit. And it's just hilarious shit. So please, great content. Check it out. But anyway, back to the news. Let's finish this off. From BBC News, U.S. joins Germany in sending battle tanks to Ukraine. So, in grand total, like from everyone sending tanks over, from the Leopard, then from the American side, the M1 Abrams tanks, where they were like playing real shy, coy about, oh, it's gonna take so long for you guys to learn it. Like, it's not even good out there in that terrain. Essentially, they took the proposal more or less from Germany. I mean, they did it without actually saying that's the reason why. They were saying, hey, it's to secure unity. It's like the right thing to do. Biden came out like, yeah, that's what we're doing. But yeah, I mean, essentially, Germany doesn't want to be the only ones with, potatoes on the fryer, if you will. And, these tanks from America really are going to hopefully help. Also, other countries are also contributing. Poland, they were potentially saying, "Hey, we'll do it if you approve it or don't." Also, we've said the UK are giving their Challenger tanks. I think Canada is even throwing some tanks along. But I mean, in total, it's at least like 2 battalions, like 100 some odd tanks, something like that. So it's a big deal. They have the stats of the tanks. On the article if you'd like to check it out, see some pictures. That's more or less all we got. Let's see here. Okay, good. I'm glad I wasn't as long as I thought I was. So I'm gonna close out real jazz like with my little break. And I gotta say thanks for tuning in. You're a peach. You're a plum. And if you'd like to make this all the more sweeter for me, you could become a newsie. How to become a newsie, you're asking? I got a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. I get bonus content on there, bonus episodes. Like I said, sometimes I gotta do some stories there just to kind of do it. There's also stories that I just kind of wanna have away from the main episode. Either it's a little more private, either it's just a little bit more just me off the cuff, like whatever. You get access to those. This is $5 a month. I love the when they say, oh, it's less than a cup of coffee. One, I hate spending more than $5 for a cup of coffee. Two, you can go to Dunkin' Donuts or a gas station and get it for less. So that's a terrible app. Unless you're buying bougie coffee, which, like I said, I've grown accustomed to. You can get it for less. But still, $5 a month. Also, you get Discord access. That's my project. That's my baby. I'd like to I want to make a place where I can talk about news like as I want. And I want to have people who also want to talk about news as they want. And I want this to be a community that I really build. So that's my project. And it's like, well, why are you paywalling it? Because it's just what you do, dude. Like, you just have to do that. Without it, there's a sense of lawlessness. Trust me, I've seen it go wrong on some Discords. And then also, that's business, baby. And then also, there's a Newsy Roll Call. So I shout out the Newsies every month. And also, I plug whatever they'd like to talk about or whatever they're doing or want to talk about, essentially it's ad space if you like. So yeah, I mean, that's what we're bringing to the table. If you'd like, that's the pay way. Free way though to contact me is isaiahnews1@gmail.com. Also, I'm on all the socials. I'm on the Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Tumblr. So yeah, any of the cool ways, all the hip ways. Actually, if you're trying to find me on MySpace, sorry, get fucked. That's your bad. Sorry you made it this far and you're a MySpace user. What? No. But yeah, you can find me. I'm out there. But yeah, hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.